Good evening and welcome to the Occult Rejects. We got a banger show for y'all tonight. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button, share the stream with your friends and family, and let's introduce our panelists, our rejects for the evening. We have some familiar faces here with us. Y'all all know me. I am the host of the Grateful Podcast, Tools, Mystic.
Yo,
Right.
Jules, it sounds like your mic is fucked up now.
You're breaking up.
Yeah. Sorry about that. We had you do the intro and your mic fucked up.
My mic?
Oh, now you sound
That's
great.
better.
Now you sound fine. Yeah.
Oh no.
It was literally
Yeah.
after you played that sound too. It like changed the mic.
It's because
I
we
did
started the stream and then he played the sound. If you play, I think that happens when I start the stream and I hit the. and then
Ellis,
I
that was
go
you who
like,
played
well,
that? That's awesome.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and introduce our other host, Eros. You want to go ahead and tell and guys, this is Eros's, and we did not plan to match our shirts. That just synchronicities. But this was her kind of idea, so I'm actually pretty excited because I know very little about what we're talking about tonight. So, Eros, do you want to kind of let people know who you are and maybe what we're going to be getting into, and then we'll introduce the rest of the rejects here.
Sure. Hey, everyone. It's great to see you. Great to be on again. I'm Erosup. You can find me on YouTube at Erosup, and you can find me on Twitter at Eros2Ethos. I post a lot about metaphysics and the Enneads and astrology. And yeah, today we're going to be talking about the gateway process. So I guess that apparently, like, it sounds like they had kids listen to a bunch of these tapes and stuff like that. But this is just a CIA document that goes over like some of the reasoning and the results of it. It's pretty interesting. So I'm excited to get into it with you guys. There's astral projection. They talk about like Kundalini awakening, hypnosis, and they mention the occult like multiple times. So it's pretty interesting.
If I remember correctly, not to interrupt, but like, don't they even? This is the paperwork you see a lot of people post on the internet where it's like, oh, the government's saying we live in a matrix. If I'm correct, I'm almost positive this is even the paperwork that says that too, where it shows like the head and all the slicing and all that stuff.
Like a projection, yeah, kind of.
Very
No,
interesting.
I don't think I have the right PDF pulled up. What's it called specifically?
It's the gateway process. Scroll all the way up.
I got the Stargate.
Is this related to the telepathy?
That's not the right one.
Oh no, I think the one actually.
Yeah, I sent. Are you using the link?
No.
That I sent? Yeah.
Well,
Because it's titled Analysis and Assessment of Gateway Process.
Right. I was looking up the wrong thing.
well, if we while we're figuring this out, if y'all want to introduce the rest of yourselves.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah, Nick from the Occult Rejects. You can find on BitChute, Rumble, YouTube, all major podcasts. Just to let people know who are listening now, we got Ike Baker and we got Jamie Paul Lamb coming on tomorrow at 3:30. Definitely keep an eye out for that. They'll be talking about astrology over the ages, over time. And we also got a big name next week coming on. Finally got her on. We got Georgina Rose coming on next Wednesday. So she's a big name in Thelema. She's not a member of the OTO, but she is a big name in Thelema. So definitely check that out. I was a little impressed. I was finally able to get her on the show. So
I'll be there for that.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah. But yeah, that's about it. And yeah, thanks you all for showing up. And again, Eros, thanks for coming up with this topic. Because like I had mentioned in the group chat, like that was an idea that me and Lux had when we covered the first time, and we just never did it. So I'm glad we're actually going back and doing it now. And for some reason, it seems to be a hot topic again. It's probably about the third time I've noticed it being a hot topic after I covered it. So, like, it's better late than never. But thanks again.
Is this related to the telepathy tapes at all?
I think it's more related to remote viewing.
Okay, so it
I think your mic's messed it up again.
oh, that's great.
All right. So, Ethan, why don't you introduce yourself real quick?
It's an honor to be here with you guys. I really love exchanging information and learning and sharing. And this document really is so interesting because it brings together the occult of politics and the occult of consciousness, really right into the network of the U.S. government. So Ethan Indigo Smith, I'm on all the social media, and I appreciate anyone reaching out whenever if they feel like it. And I have a bunch of articles and a few books out there, and appreciate anyone checking out those too. And again, honored to be here.
Jules, your mic working now? You want to try it?
Yeah,
Hey, you're good.
How do I sound? Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
You can introduce Headless now.
All right, Headless. Last but not least.
What's up, guys? Headless Giant. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter and on YouTube. Headless Giant Podcast. You can also send me your strange and mysterious experiences in your dreams or in reality at headlessgiantpodcast@gmail.com, and we will read those on Thursdays on my magical mailbag show. Also on Sundays we got the trialogues with Ethan and Ricardo, and on Mondays I have the Alchemy Mondays with Eros. So also check out Tuesdays 777 with Nick. So
Also check out Rustic Gods with Jules.
right, that's all it is.
You never. Look, it doesn't offend me, but you never promote our show. But it's fine.
Sorry.
It's fine because it's like a series. It's like an Occult Reject series, right? But it's fine.
The last one was wild. It's wild.
Yeah.
The last one was great, and dude, there's so many. I had a bunch of images of Demeter that I wanted to pull up that we didn't get to pulling up. We didn't get to talking about Gnostic Informant or that video that you were going to pull up, the crazy wife swap video. We didn't get a chance to pull that up either. So
we got so much more in store. So
maybe for next,
stay tuned.
yeah, maybe for the next episode, guys.
Yeah, for people, definitely go check out that series. It's rather impressive. Like, my man's covering a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the dude's doing it.
Kills it, dude. Yeah,
he's freestyling. He doesn't have notes up. You know what I'm saying? It's like the Jizza from Wu-Tang over here, just freestyling crazy shit.
PhD in paganism, really.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, one thing I want to mention before
Really
we get into
making
the show.
thrive.
So all of us here can pat ourselves on the back. I know one time I was bitching that we're only number 2 in the occult podcast community out of the top 100, but we are number 1 in Hermeticism podcasts. So yeah, there we go. Out of the top 70 podcasts in Hermeticism, Rejects number 1.
Dope.
Talking about, baby.
Yeah, and some of this, I'll be totally honest with you, some of the shows that we beat that were on there, I was like, oh wow. Like I had that guy on for Cult of Personality. To me, like that to some people that was having Sam Tripoli on for them because they're in the conspiracy community. That was like kind of close for me, and to find out that my show beat his, I was like, what the fuck? It just blew me away. I beat Rune Soup. What? Like, wow. I can't believe that. So just want to throw that out there. Hard work pays off.
Well, Nick, props to you for bringing us all to, in the same.
But it all happens because we're all here. It's not.
Yeah, no, I second that. Props to you, Nick, and everyone. That's awesome, man.
Hell yeah.
I love you guys.
Hell yeah.
Thank you, audience. You guys are awesome.
And yeah, we love you guys as well. I'm gonna start printing. Well, I think I have some Occult Reject stickers on the way. maybe not. I may have not put that order in yet. Dude, I have like 20 different sticker designs, guys, that I have in the works. So Occult Reject stickers as well. I'll be sending them to y'all.
What?
Eros is my
Some
future ex-wife,
I
my
got you.
married baby mom.
That is
I'm
the
a battered
perfect-
woman.
Yeah,
that is the perfect
you-
screen name for the
I don't
perfect
think so.
comment.
Don't worry, Eros.
I don't think so.
Julia's
Q.
gotten some pretty nasty comments. So don't feel bad.
Yeah,
You guys
yeah.
gotta get-
No,
up with that though. That's
whoop my
perfect.
baby mama hoe ass.
Yeah, that screen cap has got to follow her around. That's hilarious.
Well, so I guess just real quick before we get into this paperwork, I just want to let people know that again, like this is an analysis, like it says right here on the gateway process. I think that was part of the Stargate project, if I'm correct. I do get the difference, between those a little shady. It's in a gray area. I get confused, but for people who don't know what that is, the gateway process is associated with the Monroe Institute. Interesting thing about that guy, you could probably listen to the old series that the Occult Rejects did. I did go into that guy, and he was even very much connected to radio and even inventing things. So it's just very interesting you had someone like that. But it was like tapes and stuff where I guess back then it was probably tapes, where we'd have different sounds and different frequencies, and it was almost like guided meditations at certain points. And it was helping people have out-of-body experiences, basically. I even used some of them a long time ago, and there were certain markers that I would normally use for myself that I know that I'm about to have an experience because it's always the same thing over and over again. I found those tapes bringing me to that point a lot faster. And so, in my opinion, I do think there's probably something there. I never went too far; I only did maybe like 5 or 6 tapes, but I definitely think there's something there. And some of the shit that they talk about in these papers is pretty wild, and I think it's worth listening to. Like I mentioned before, me and Lux had covered it, and we wanted to go over the paperwork, but we didn't because we already had a bunch of shit to cover. I think it was already like 3 parts, so we weren't trying to drag it out any much longer. And Eros had mentioned it, and I was like, yes. I was like, that's something I wanted to do like 4 years ago, so let's do it, So, yeah, thank you, Eros, and that was just a little bit of, I guess, back information why we're here. So now, Eros, I think you said the first page you said we could skip pretty much, right?
Yeah, I think so, because it's just like a letter, like from the person who kind of wrote it up to the government or whatever. So I say let's just like dig into the meat of it.
Is there anything you wanted to say about it before we get into it?
No, I just think it's really interesting. I feel like you guys probably have more background on it than I do. I just liked.
If I could pop in there, the reason why I had the wrong PDF was because I was thinking this was the other end of the project, which was Operation Stargate.
Yes,
right? So Stargate was the one that I had pulled up. You guys were talking about this. So the gateway process was used in Project Stargate to try and bring about remote viewing, right? And so they had people from the Monroe Institute doing remote viewing work with a lot of the well-known remote viewers that like Joe McGonigal. His Mars 1 million BC remote viewing was done under Robert Monroe. So that's the link. So I had the Stargate document pulled up, which they talk about the background here real quick. I'll just read it real quick. It says in the mid 1800s, investigations into anomalous mental phenomena were initiated by very limited number of researchers working essentially independent of one another to examine this area due to evidence suggested a wide variety of anecdotal accounts of spontaneous occurrences. So one of the motivations for why they started looking into remote viewing is because of spiritualism in the 1800s and how they did that methodology. So
very nice. Well, thank you for throwing that in there. But yeah, so I was Eros. I figured maybe we would all take turns reading. We thought that would probably work out the best, right?
Ooh.
Yeah.
And I guess as we read, we could just talk about certain things.
You guys know I love reading.
Yeah. And I figure we kind of do it almost like the book club that you do.
Yeah, the
If
esoteric.
people don't,
Gods
people
of the
don't know-
Morning Wood.
Yes, Gods of the Morning Wood. If people don't know what that's about, you got to check out Jules Saturday. It's for Patreon, but he does do a
Nick,
little sample.
We're doing Occult Anatomy of Man tomorrow.
I'll be here for that.
I was gonna say Headless. Yeah, and Ethan, you too, man. If you're ever up and you want to join us, dude, you're always welcome. Even if these guys
I need to get in there.
Yeah, man, for sure.
It's definitely fun. It's a good time, and it's you.
I know Eros doesn't wake up that early on Saturdays. So.
I typically don't.
No.
Yeah, no.
Good for you.
Lucy knows. And guys, we got Enchanted Wiggers coming in 2026. God bless Subliminal Messenger.
Enchanted Wiggers.
It's coming, man. It's coming.
All right.
All right. We'll talk about it towards the end of the show. I have I'm gonna work on like a EP for it, like a little rap EP, like a underground rap EP, so it's good. It's not shit. Yeah.
All right, nice. I want to hear that. But yeah, just real quick, definitely check that shit out. It's on Saturday mornings. 10 o'clock your time or some shit, or my time?
Yeah, well, we were doing it public and we do the first hour. So we do 2 books and we review one for the first hour. We do that public, and then we cut the X, YouTube, and we have 2 Rumble streams. The Disagree to Agree Rumble stream is the one that stays public. So we'll cut that, and then we'll go to the private Patreon stream for the second hour and a half of the show, where it's usually the more juicier, stuff that we're getting into. So,
all right. Eros, you want to start it off? And then
Sure.
And then I guess we could go down this line. Then I'll go, Jules will go, Headless will go, and then Ethan can go if you want.
Yeah, I'm gonna skip the introduction too, because
Makes sense.
yeah, it's not important. Okay, hypnosis. According to the theories of psychologist Ronald Stone and the biomedical engineering models of Itzhak Bentov, hypnosis is basically a technique which permits acquisition of direct access to the sensory motor cortex and pleasure centers and lower cerebral emotional portions and associated pleasure centers of the right side of the human brain following successful disengagement of the stimulus screening function of the left hemisphere of the brain. The left hemisphere of the brain is the self-cognitive, verbal, and linear reasoning component of the mind. It fulfills the function of screening incoming stimuli by categorizing, assessing, and assigning meaning prior to allowing passage to the right hemisphere of the mind. The right hemisphere, which functions as the non-critical, holistic, nonverbal, and pattern-oriented component of the brain, appears to accept what the left hemisphere passes to it without question. Consequently, if the left hemisphere can be distracted either through boredom or through reduction to a soporific semi-sleep state, external stimuli to include hypnotic suggestions are allowed to pass unchallenged into the right hemisphere, where they are accepted and acted upon directly. The result may involve an emotional reaction originating in the lower cerebral region, sensory/motor responses requiring involvement of the cortex, and so on. Both the sensory and the motor cortices of the right cerebral portion of the brain contain a sequence of points known as the homunculus, which corresponds to points. Oh, yeah. I can't see you guys, so I don't know how to know if you guys want to interrupt me.
Yo, wait.
Yeah, I was very excited that it mentions the
Wait,
monkey.
did they really mention?
Yeah,
Yes, sir. If you scroll down,
believe that it's something physical in our heads.
Multiple times they do actually.
well, the sensory homunculus is this figure that
2026.
Wraps around the brain and it shows you what part of the body it affects.
I think there's a picture of it a little further
Right.
down. There's a little diagram of it, maybe.
Right. Basically, it's like a wiring harness. This is how they view your brain. Is basically the wiring comes out in these areas from these different parts of the body, and so you've got more wires going to certain parts, and then other parts have less wires going to them. But that's how they would characterize your entire body. Is by looking at the sensory homunculus, you can see where the most nerve connections are. It's mostly in your face and eyes and all the rest of that stuff.
So a
that should be
mind homunculus.
right.
Wow.
Just scroll down a little bit. You'll see the figure.
Incredible.
Yeah. And I know, Headless, you were talking the other day about how, like, some people, when they astral project, like, they'll use, like, a magical homunculus to, like, protect their...
That's what was talked about in a book called The Magnificent World of... Who's the guy? Euclid? Is it Euclid? No, who's the guy who did the geometry with the squares on the XY axis? What was that called? Anyways, it was that mathematician, and he was talking about how you have to, if you're doing extended journeys outside of the body using astral projection, you need to have a homunculus guard your body, or else a demon's going to hop into your vessel while
That's
you're
a
out.
servitor. Or
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
But
I guess
they called it a
homunculus would be
homunculus.
just a type of servitor
Right.
that you could create.
Was that John D. Headless?
No,
No.
this was a guy related to Euclidean geometry. I forgot his name though.
All right, I'll continue. So the cerebral portion of the brain contain a sequence of points known as the homunculus, which corresponds to points in the body. See Exhibit 1, next page. We already looked at that. Stimulation of the corresponding area in the cortex causes immediate response in the associated portion of the body. Consequently, induction of the suggestion that the left leg is numb if it reaches the right hemisphere unchallenged and is referred to the appropriate area of the sensory cortex will result in an electrical reaction being generated that will induce the feeling of numbness. Similarly, the suggestion that the person is experiencing a general feeling of happiness and well-being would be referred to the appropriate pleasure centers located in the lower cerebral portion or in the cortex of the right hemisphere, thereby inducing the suggested feeling of euphoria. Finally, suggestions such as one...
If I could pop in real quick. So
Yeah.
I think that they've mislabeled that, because there is a portion of your brain that is dedicated to shutting down different parts of the body. So they're referring to the act of going into a hypnotic state as being pleasure centers, when really it's actually just the shutting down motion. So they've sort of mislabeled that. Like either one can be induced, but they're not inducing the pleasure centers. They're trying to create a numbing sensation.
Well, I think they're talking about just like kind of multiple examples of what you can do with hypnosis. And they even talk about like curing disease and stuff later on in it.
Well, one of the interesting things, when I was in the Army, I had a guy who was my roommate who did self-hypnosis, and he could put the back of his neck on one chair and the back of his heels on another chair and hold himself up like that almost indefinitely after hypnotizing himself into a trance. And what he said was, once you've engaged the part of your brain that actually produces this rigidity, or this, I guess you would call it like a constant tension, it's not something that can be broken very easily. So he can actually self-hypnotize him into being completely paralyzed.
Jeez.
Well, he was the guy who taught me how to do it. So.
Finally, suggestions such as one that informs the hypnotic subject that he enjoys enhanced concentration or powers of memory would be responded to in the right hemisphere by accessing unused information storage capacity normally held in reserve as a result of left hemisphere selection and control processes. This aspect will become significant in the context of the gateway process when attention is given to examining the way that hypnosis may be used to accelerate progress in the early stages of the gateway experience. I just love that because it's like so much of what we do in magic is like reprogramming the subconscious, to like get the results that we want. And I mean, that's what this really is. This is seems like a pretty easy, direct way to do it.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go, or you want me to take over?
Yeah, I guess I have to probably scroll through it.
So
I have it open on my end.
Oh.
So I guess they were teaching people to create these homunculuses, or was this just like some kind of research study?
In this context, it's just like it's probably some kind of bodily parallel. It's the actual physical homunculus in the brain, but I'm sure that there is some kind of like symbology there that would be like related to.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's more of like a consciousness creation that can, you can, for instance, with the remote viewing, you can maybe have your consciousness body visit a location, for instance, right? Your homunculus, maybe. I think this is the reference they're using.
So they were teaching this to the military?
Right. Well, what they're saying right here is that all of the nerves in your body have certain places that they show up at the end of the nervous system in your brain, right? So you can see that the feet, it's very small in there because proportionally there are less nerves that go to your feet than there are that go to your head. And this is where the nerves that go to your head come out. So there's this strip called the sensory strip. And that is what's connecting all of the different parts of your body to your brain. And so in that area, you've got the different senses that then branch off into the other parts or lobes of the brain. So right there would be the distribution of how many nerves there are per inch, I guess, in these other parts of your body. So you even have internal organs that would be in that sensory strip as well.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a literal part of the brain.
So did the alchemical, homunculus creation, did they name this part in your brain after that, or was
Bingo.
that named?
Because it is
named after your brain. I mean,
no,
I'm
this
sure
this part of your brain was named after the alchemical concept because this is all of your sensory organs. This is the little you, right? This is the thing that's pointing outward. So it makes sense to me why they would call it a homunculus. It literally is that part of the brain that is the sensory homunculus, right?
Okay, I understand it now.
Yeah, you know how you talk about those nerves running up the side of your head? In the in those two pictures that I made where the guy is blindfolded or has a pirate patch on and he has the horns coming out of it, the skull.
Yeah.
That's what I'm actually referring to that.
Oh.
With those things in there.
Believe it or not.
Look at that thing. I mean, that looks like
it's part of the lymphatic system.
Bull right there, right? A little
if it's the same
there in the middle.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Bull of heaven.
I'm glad that Nick's reading this next part because this made me think of Nick, actually.
Oh, thanks.
Hey, Eros, could you put little zodiac signs all along that body as well?
All along
because the head
body?
the head is Aries, and then on down is each one of the different 12.
Oh, like on like a full human body?
Right. Well, especially with the sensory homunculus, because each one of those different regions would be governed by a different zodiac sign.
Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah, you definitely could.
Dude, the brain is fascinating. The shape of everything in there, it's just...
Let me get right. Transcendental meditation. On the other hand, transcendental meditation works in a distinctly different fashion. In this technique, intense and protracted single-minded concentration on the process of drawing energy up the spinal cord ultimately results in what appears to be creation of acoustical standing waves in the cerebral ventricles, which are then conducted to the gray matter in the cerebral cortex on the right side of the brain. As a result, according to Bentoff, these waves will stimulate and eventually polarize the cortex in such a way that it will tend to conduct a signal along the homunculus, starting from the toes and on up. Oh, geez. Yeah, that's like kind of like I talk about, like when I go to blast off, it's like from my toes up, I go fucking like it just disappears. Like there's no feeling at all. Like it doesn't exist. Like from my knees down, just gone. Like I wouldn't even feel them in bed. Like they just didn't exist. The Bentoff biomechanical model, as described in a book by Lee Sinella, MD, entitled Kundalini Psychosis or Transcendence, states that the standing acoustical waves are the result of the altered rhythm of the heart sounds, which are occasioned by prolonged practice of meditation, in which set up the sympathetic vibrations in the walls of the fluid-filled cavities which comprise the third and lateral ventricles of the brain. In addition, according to Bentoff, the state of bliss described by those whose Kundalini symptoms have completed the full loop along the hemisphere may be explained as self-stimulation of the pleasure centers in the brain caused by the circulation of a current along the sensory cortex. Bentoff also notes that most of the described symptoms start on the left side of the body, means that it is mostly a development occurring in the right hemisphere. Although normally a period of meditation involving intense concentration and practice for 5 years or some is required to bring up the Kundalini. Bentoff states,
guys. Think about the Baphomet. One side is up, one side is down. Are they talking about the different hemispheres of the brain too when it comes to Baphomet?
Oh, I guarantee.
Yeah.
I've even wondered if that was Jules might remember this in Missing Pieces, and when they're above the convenience store, I think it might be when the little guys like going up and down between the worlds, or something like intercourse between the worlds.
Oh yeah, yeah. The macro micro, dude. Yeah, definitely. No, that's all. Yeah.
Sorry.
And like the feminine and masculine, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, the feminine and masculine, the light and the dark,
like masculine, feminine.
Yeah.
It's very yin yang too, right? Because it's got the internal, external, right and left, opposite kind of crossing.
And then it's got the human animal kind of chimeric hybrid to represent, the upper and lower self, or the lower and higher self, I guess.
I just had a thought. So imagine this, right? If you're looking at the two parts of the hemispheres of the brain that have the different sensory homunculus on them, it's not just this side that has all of that stuff corresponding to that part of the body. So right side would correspond to the left side of the body. So you're literally bisected. Your entire body is bisected in the middle of your brain, and then the strip for the right side is over here on the left side, and the strip for the left side is over here on the right side. So you're making a physical representation of the cross inside of your own body as your nerves are split in half.
Man.
So there's literally a sign of the cross inside of your brain.
Dude, yes, there's the Eye of Horus inside of our brain, bro. Like it's occult anatomy to me is becoming one of the most fascinating topics that I've been getting into.
Absolutely.
There is
stoked for tomorrow.
Please, Earls.
I was gonna say, what if Baphomet is like a inverted sphinx instead of like the body of the beast and then the head of a human? It's the head of a beast and body of a human.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. It is an inverted sphinx.
I never realized
that.
Right. Huh. Whoa! So it's not. So it's not like this beacon of wisdom. It's more so the opposite.
Well, the sphinx is kind of an inverted.
I was thinking of
what's that, Ethan?
Sorry. Sorry, I'm lagging. I was thinking there's a Tai
Y'all
Chi
are.
meditation that is the grand ultimate. Sorry, not the grand ultimate. That's Tai Chi. The microcosmic orbit, which is a process very similar to how this transcendental meditation process is being described. And when this was written, not so much when it was released publicly, transcendental meditation, actually hypnosis, was very popular too. And TCM, Transcendental Meditation,
Lynch
was
pushed that hard.
one of the more popular. It was so pushed and so popular and was a real big moneymaker. Not to knock it in the sense that it isn't a valuable meditation practice, but it was very closed in the sense it wasn't free. The books and the process was very elite for the time, but it was super popular. My point being, long-winded point, is that most meditation processes that are available today will get you to where where these suggestions are leading to, right? Which is clearing the mind so that you can get out of the way and tap into the collective consciousness, to simplify. So not to knock any of that, like hypnosis, TCM, or transcendental meditation. They're still valuable, but what people are practicing now are probably as valuable. And that goes to the remote viewing development. It was not stagnant. It was a process in movement, emotion, and development. And so many things can be integrated that people might practice today.
I just think it's amazing that it's coming from the CIA, you know?
Right. Hey, they did it with the Temple of Set, dude. They dropped
Right.
those documents months ago.
Oh,
and,
speaking of which,
we
guys,
talked about that last night.
I got all of Michael Aquino's books, so I'm going to be a subject matter expert on everything Michael Aquino by the time I'm finished with them all.
Nice.
Even more than
Cool.
the Set.
Where did you get those, Headless?
I bought them off Amazon. I just thought,
Cool.
somebody's got to do it. Nobody reads Michael Aquino. This is what Nick motivated me to do. He's got books that nobody has ever read, and they just talk about them all day long. So I'm just like, all right, well, I got to learn everything I need to about the guy so that I can't say that I'm one of those people.
I like that, man. No, but you know what? You'll probably have plenty of actual shit out of his own words to even fucking use anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You don't even make up drastic fucking clickbait shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Or it might actually be like, this is maybe more like, you might actually really
find out the roots.
It's really about.
All of this stuff is about finding out the roots, because once you can find out the roots, you can find out where all this other stuff comes from. So once you know the roots, that's when you can start plugging all the information in.
Absolutely.
Very well said, sir. I like that. All right, let me go. Oh fuck, I lost my spot again.
I know, yeah.
I see it. Bentov states that exposure to mechanical or acoustical vibrations in the range of 4 to 7 hertz cycles per second or protracted periods may achieve the same effect. Bentov cites as an example repeated riding in a car whose suspension and seat combination produce that range of vibrations, or being exposed for long periods of time to these frequencies caused, for instance, by an air conditioning duct. I guess that can happen too. Wow. He also notes that the cumulative effect of these vibrations may be able to trigger a spontaneous physio kundalini sequence in susceptible people who have a particular sensitive nervous system. Do you want me to keep going and then you just finish off that page, Jules, and then you'll take over?
Number 4, biofeedback.
Okay, go.
Yeah, you keep going if you want.
No, if you guys want to take over, go for it.
I can hit it.
Yeah,
4, biofeedback. The third consciousness altering methodology, which we will be briefly describing, is biofeedback. Biofeedback is somewhat unique in that it actually employs self-cognitive powers of left hemisphere to gain access gain access to such areas of the right hemispheres, the lower cerebral, motor, and sensory cortices, and assorted pain pleasure centers. Instead of suppressing the left hemisphere as is done in hypnosis, or largely bypassing and ignoring it as is done in visual transcendental meditation, biofeedback teaches the left hemisphere first to visualize the desired result and then to recognize the feelings associated with the experience of successful right hemisphere access to specific lower cerebral cortex pain, pleasure, or other areas in the manner needed to produce the desired result. Special self-monitoring devices such as the digital thermometer are used to inform the left brain when it succeeds in keying the right hemisphere into accessing the appropriate area. What do you think those wearables on your wrists are doing? On this is once this is done, the left brain can then repeatedly instruct the right brain to reestablish the pathways involved so as to produce the same external objective measures of success. In this way, the pathways are strengthened and emphasized to such an extent that the left brain consciousness is enabled to access appropriate areas of the right brain using a conscious demand mode. For example, if the subject wishes to increase the circulation in the left leg in order to speed up healing, they may concentrate with his left brain on achieving that result while carefully monitoring a digital thermometer connected to the left leg. When the concentrated effort begins to achieve success, the digital thermometer will register an increase in the temperature of the left leg. At that point, the subject can mentally left brain associate the sensation experienced with the result achieved and can begin to emphasize by memory, recall the same process to cause its strengthening by enhanced malignant tumors can apparently be suppressed and ultimately destroyed. Or by the body's pleasure centers can be stimulated, and a variety of specific physiological results may be achieved. In addition, biofeedback may be used to greatly accelerate achievement of deep meditative states, particularly for beginners who have no experience in meditative techniques and whose progress in that methodology is enhanced through effective visualization and external objective affirmation. Well, one way I could think of that is by those. Have you guys ever seen those mushrooms that get hooked up to the electrodes and then they start playing music? Well,
Yes.
this kind of thing is done with biofeedback and meditation so that they hook up the EEG to your head, and the more in tune your thoughts become, the more positive biofeedback in your ear holes you get. Right? So it's a feedback loop. Display of the subject's brainwave pattern on a cathode ray tube has proven to be laboratory validated means by which may quickly learn to place themselves profoundly relaxed states characterized by the sort of quietude and singularity of mental focus associated with advanced meditation. Number 5, gateway and hemisync. Do you want to take that, Ethan?
Let's see. Are we at 5?
Yep.
Ready?
Yes.
I was going to say that the summation of a lot of this is to get rid of our own consciousness, which is in the way. A little anecdote, which I think is inspirational, of the Buddha. Someone asks him, "What did you gain from meditation? You're teaching this meditation, and what have you gained from it?" And he said, "I've gained nothing, but I've lost the fear of death, the anxiety of life and old age and this and that." And so he shed all of these problematic anxiety issues rather than, gaining something or pursuing gaining something. And that way he was able to open up his mind. Okay, so.
Yeah, and you even shed the body, and they talk about time travel in this even.
Right.
On the note of biofeedback, though, I mean, the wearables are definitely in line with all of this biofeedback. I just, everybody's putting these things on. They don't realize that it's a two-way street. They can influence you just as easily with electromagnetic fields as you could be influencing them with your data. So all they have to do is introduce a little bit of stimulus, and then they've got you on the hook, sort of like a roach on a string.
It's interesting too. A lot of this document as a whole really knocks materialism, like that we're so locked into as a science approach. This really, I think, it gets at a lot of the technical aspects of this Max Planck quote, which I've noticed the remote viewers refer to a lot. I'll share before I read. Sorry. I regard consciousness as fundamental. I regard matter as derivative from consciousness. We cannot get behind consciousness. Everything that we talk about, everything that we regard as existing, postulates consciousness. And the materialism view, of course, is the complete opposite of that. So I think this paper kind of just gets at the whole consciousness. I like the Wu-Tang version. Consciousness rules everything around me.
There you go.
Is that what he says?
No, it's cash.
I'll read.
That's the radio edit.
No, I'm sorry. That was my interjection, but he stops at postulates consciousness, the Max Planck quote. But I regard consciousness as fundamental is sums it up neatly anyway. Gateway and hemisync. Now that we have briefly profiled the basic mechanics of the principal techniques for altering or expanding consciousness, which share some of the objectives and/or methods employed in the gateway experience, we may proceed to focus on what that technique actually involves. Fundamentally, the gateway experience is a training system designed to bring enhanced strength, focus, and coherence to the amplitude and frequency of brainwave output between the left and right hemispheres, so as to alter consciousness, moving it outside the physical sphere so as to ultimately escape even the restrictions of time and space. The participant then gains access to the various levels of intuitive knowledge which the universe offers. What differentiates the gateway experience from forms of meditation is its use of the hemisync technique, which is defined as a monograph by Monroe Institute trainer Melissa Jaeger as a, quote, a state of consciousness defined when the EEG patterns of both hemispheres are simultaneously equal in amplitude and frequency. Although hemisync seems to be rather rare and of only short duration in ordinary human consciousness, Melissa Jaeger states that, quote, audio techniques developed by Bob Monroe can induce and sustain hemisync with the Institute's basic Focus 3 tapes. She also notes that, quote, studies conducted by Elmer and Alice Green at the Menninger Foundation have also shown that a subject with 20 years of experience in Zen meditation could consistently establish hemisync at will, sustaining it for over 15 minutes. Dr. Stuart Twemlov, a psychiatrist and research associate of the Monroe Institute, reports that, quote, in our studies of the effect of the Monroe tape system on brainwaves, we have found that the tapes encourage the focusing of brain energy, it can be managed with a light bulb in watts, into a narrower and narrower frequency band. This focusing of energy is not unlike the yoga concept of one-pointedness, which may translate in Western terms as single-mindedness, unquote, Dr. Twenlow goes on to observe that as the individual gets into the tapes beyond focus 3, quote, there is a gradual increase in brainwave size, which is a measure of brain energy or power. And essentially, I feel like that's a long-winded way of saying with this technology and audio assistance, we can enhance the meditation process and effects by magnitudes of order, right? Order of magnitudes, right? So something I was thinking about in regards to that. Oh, please, Heather, go on. I can say this later.
When it comes to hemisync and the sensory homunculus, you have to think that these two things are linked. So as your ears are taking in these different vibrations that produce alternate waves of frequency that your mind hears, it's stimulating the entire nerve cluster around those sensory homunculi, right? So both sides of your brain are then responding to the things that your ears are hearing in such a way that it creates sort of like a reciprocal vibration. That's when you can, create these different things, is by synchronizing both hemispheres on the same wavelength, which is rare because we're constantly in, several different frames of mind. I mean, when do we ever have focused concentration?
Right. Were y'all in any of these little programs in school?
Ooh.
Yeah. I
was.
don't remember any tapes.
I don't remember most of my
I was in one. It was called Open Doors.
I've heard of that.
You think about like the doors of perception and all that, right? Like it's
Janus.
Yeah. And we are in the month of Janus. So
there was somebody I knew that I see somebody else mention it in there. I think the GATE program. I saw somebody mention in the comments. That's somebody I knew somebody personally that was going to come on the show a while ago, but I think I just kind of let the ball drop. That they were supposedly in a GATE program, and they said this shit was part of it.
Yeah,
we're in elementary school listening to this shit.
Yeah,
what, really? Oh, okay.
That's what. Yeah, sounded familiar. I was like, dude, because and then we had talked about it before, obviously, but I think I had brought it up in the group chat that I was in the program or whatever, in one of those little programs that they had in the schools. Is it my turn to read?
Have you read yet?
No.
Okay,
What?
Go ahead, and then I'll read next. We've skipped you.
Sorry about that.
No, I mean it's fine. It's fine. We're on 6.
Yes.
I think so.
All right.
And first laser.
I just want to say this is really awesome, guys. I like this.
Oh, yeah.
I love seeing how your brains work about this information. This is awesome.
Oh yeah, no, I think this shit's really important. Yeah.
Right.
Melissa Yeager uses a metaphor to help clarify the process involved in the use of hemisync in the gateway experience. She points out that the human mind in its natural state may be likened to an ordinary lamp, which expends energy in the form of both heat and light, but in a chaotic, incoherent way, which diffuses its energy over a wide area of rather limited depth. On the other hand, the human mind under the discipline of hemisync acts after the fashion of a laser beam, which produces a disciplined stream of light. The stream of energy is projected with total coherence of both frequency and amplitude, such that the surface area of a laser beam contains billions of times the concentrated energy found in a similar surface area on the sun. Holy shit. Gateway assumes that once the frequency and amplitude of the human brain are rendered coherent, it is possible to begin accelerating both so that the human mind is soon resonating at ever higher vibrational levels. The mind can then bring itself into synchronization with more sophisticated and rarefied energy levels in the universe. The mind, when operating at these increasingly rarefied levels, is assumed to be capable of processing the information thus received through the same fundamental matrix by which it makes, I'm losing my place because it's so small, by which it makes sense of, okay, hold on. Let me read that again. The mind, when operating at these increasingly rarefied levels, is assumed to be capable of processing the information thus received through the same fundamental matrix by which it makes sense of ordinary physical sensory input to achieve meaning in a cognitive context. It's a long sentence. Such meaning is usually perceived visually in the form of symbols, but may also be perceived as astonishing flashes of holistic intuition, or even in the form of scenarios involving both visual and aural perception. The mechanics by which the mind exercises the consciousness function will be addressed in more detail later in this paper.
We got to get it on record. We got to get Kurt
That's
on the
crazy.
Occult Rejects. That would be fucking amazing.
Yeah, look at this way. It's
Who?
Kurt Metzger. Derp with Kerp.
The
You
comedian?
don't listen to that? Yeah, he's great. He's got his own
Yeah, he's great.
conspiracy podcast now.
Yeah. I had seen that.
All right. Oh wait, I'm muted. Wait,
No,
No,
you're
you're
fine.
you guys,
We hear you.
yeah. Yeah.
you guys can hear me right now.
Yep.
Yes.
I should be muted, but okay.
Yeah, the whole time
You're
we were
never
talking,
muted.
we heard you.
All right, section 7, frequency following response. To achieve synchronization of brain hemispheres, the hemisync technique takes advantage of a phenomenon known as the frequency following response, which means that if a subject hears a sound produced at a frequency which emulates one of those associated with the operation of the human brain, the brain will try to mimic the same frequency pattern by adjusting its brainwave output. Therefore, if the subject is in a fully awake state but hears sound frequencies which approximates brainwave output at the theta level, the subject's brain will endeavor to alter its brainwave pattern from normal beta to the theta level. Since the theta level is associated with sleep, the subject concerned may progress from a fully awake to a sleep state, provided that he does not consciously resist. As the brain strives to entrain its wave frequency output with the one which the person hears, since these brain wave frequencies are outside the spectrum of sounds which can be heard in pure form by the human ear, hemisync must produce them based on another phenomenon known as the brain's capacity for deducing beat frequencies. If the human brain is exposed to one frequency in the left ear, which is 10 hertz below another audible frequency played in the right ear, rather than hearing either of the two audible frequencies, the brain chooses to hear the difference between them, the beat frequency, thus availing itself of the FFR phenomenon and using the technique of beat frequencies. The gateway system uses hemisync and other audio techniques.
Can I stop you right there?
Yeah.
I thought that's what they were talking about when it comes to hemisync. What were they talking about in the previous section if they weren't talking about the resonance between these two different beats and creating that unifying sound wave? Maybe I just jumped the gun, but you know what I'm saying, right? Because the whole idea behind hemisync is that you're creating the two different resonant beats, and then it creates a third frequency in the mind that you hear, but it's not being played, right?
Yep.
I think maybe they're just adding that extra detail, like of just how that works. Like if you have one frequency in one ear and another frequency in the other ear, like the brain just cuts the difference between them.
Right. And that's where you hear the third sound. That's how you get the different frequencies. They actually have a lot of different instruments that are based off of that, like the aulos. But a lot of that stuff is, they copied off of, these ancient instruments. But at the same time, it's like they're making a lot of checks that I don't think they can cash. But I think most people kind of picked up on that by now,
I guess it's just different than like having the same frequency in both ears.
Right. They're trying to get to that idea of these two hemispheres syncing up, but I think they're promising a lot more than they can deliver in a lot of this different amplitude way, because they mentioned amplitude a lot. And I don't think they know what it means.
I've always, whether I'm ignorant for doing this is probably arguable, but I've always pursued meditation without additives. So that when I saw the sound requirement and headphones deductively, I kind of veered away from it. And
So you
then
don't use like any kind of
I have
frequency
not.
or-
No, I don't. No, I have not. No.
Okay.
I'm interested in doing so, but I wonder as things. This was meant for a military capacity for people to be able to do it rapidly. I wonder if that's necessarily the best thing for a person. I question that if you
No.
like
Yeah, I was
hit your going at 100 or 90 out of nowhere, you might
Did
feel
you
some
hear?
repercussions.
It's good for killing
But also-
machines, right?
Did you hear Natalie Spearman's analysis of her experience with the God helmet? Because that's what they're talking about with the God helmet. This whole hemisync is part of the God helmet format. It's their methodology.
Well, it reminds me too when we were Nick and I and maybe Headless too, a couple other people, when we were looking into those the murdering transsexual group from the Bay Area that were running around, and they had all this technology. And thank you. They had all this technology in relation to activating the hemisync, and they didn't seem too stable either. It seems like it's practiced among a few people, especially those that are leaning towards the technocracy. In these guys' case, they were leaning towards the techno god. Even they were a little loopy, obviously. But there is an idea in Tai Chi I wanted to share. We always hear about how we only use 8% of our brain, right? Well, in reflection to meditation, we also, I would argue, only use 8% of our body potential. And that doesn't mean we need to go to the gym, but just this mind-body connection that is reflected in this document is something that we are inhibited to use as much. And I would say if we could increase the percentage of that, we'll really tap in, so to speak.
So I have a question. Are we on the verge of a sci-tech revolution where there will be technology that can amp up psi abilities long enough to maybe make a big bank robbery or, I don't know, hack somebody's account, take all of their crypto? Are we on a sci-tech revolution, Tip? That could be a whole different thing that's happening here. I mean, that's what they're talking about. It's like all these things can be induced. So what are you trying to induce? Is there a power that's deployed with this? I mean,
that's an interesting question. It makes me think too, like if that does tend to be a big problem, what would the solution be? Microchip.
Maybe, right?
Yeah.
Well, and two, they would be able to. I mean, I know with Neuralink, I remember when that came out and reading like that 80-page document, you would be able to share bodily sensations with other people and memories and things that you've seen and stuff like that. So, I mean, you could probably like induce like a Kundalini state or like any of these kinds of states just mechanically through that. I also wanted to say that, no, I don't remember what else I was going to say. Never mind.
I feel you.
But yeah, maybe it'll come back to me.
It will.
Oh no, okay, yeah, I do remember. I feel like with the Zizians, like I can see people going crazy, like if they are like using certain effects to like bypass the left side of the brain and they're just going straight into the subconscious and programming things. I mean, if you're not careful about what you're programming into there, you could probably mess your brain up.
I totally agree. I think if you look at like even when we covered what they were even like into with the brain shit, and then just look at the stuff they got caught with and some of the drugs that these people were taking. Like, what do you expect? You're gonna have a crazy motherfucker at some point.
Well, and two, it's like, I mean, that's where so many chthonics themes come out, where like if your subconscious patterns are like corrupted or confused, or there's a gap there, like that's where our fears and like confusing like imagery can come about, like nightmares and all sorts of those fearful kind of things, scary experiences sometimes, I think. Even like hallucinations and stuff.
Yeah,
How can
and
it?
even without these like mechanical enhancements, if you will, there's warnings that come with definitely qigong. And I don't know about yoga so much, and definitely not so much tai chi, but there's warnings that you can get chi madness essentially, right? Just from meditating in the kind of wrong course, if you will.
Interesting.
I keep coming back to the idea that now this stuff is public. So what happened after they made Chat GPT public, right? What happened after they made all of this military technology that created AI public? What did they do? Well, then they started an AI arms race, right? Now this stuff has been public for a while now, a couple of decades. You don't think that there hasn't been a AI arms race going on behind the scenes when it comes to studies like this?
Oh, yeah.
Like what are we actually looking at? This is like 40 years behind the times, and we're talking about a lot of compounding technology and techniques. How many different new propaganda techniques have been developed on the internet? Do you guys remember when ASMR was not a thing? Just didn't exist.
Yeah.
Right? This is a whole different way that they have of approaching your brain and getting it to think certain thoughts. I think there's a arms race, and stuff like this is reflective of what's actually going on maybe 40 years ago.
There's people that walk around today that if they heard Hemi sing, they do some woo-woo shit. Not even believe it's real.
And we're not even in the meat of it, because at some point they're talking about leaving your body, talking to other like intelligences, and basically crossing the abyss. Even it's kind of crazy. Okay. So let's see, where was I? Thus availing itself of the FFR phenomenon and using the technique of beat frequencies, the gateway system uses hemisync and other audio techniques, employing the FFR phenomenon to introduce a variety of frequencies which are played at a virtually subliminal, marginally audible level. The objective is to relax the left hemisphere of the brain, place the physical body in a virtual sleep state, and bring the left and right hemispheres into coherence under conditions designed to promote the production of ever higher amplitude and frequency of brainwave output. Audible and perhaps subliminal suggestions by Bob Monroe accompany the various brainwave frequencies, which are sometimes rolled in together with other sounds, such as sea surf, to mask the sound frequencies where desirable. In this way, Gateway endeavors to provide the subject with the tools by which he may alter his consciousness based on his own volition over time through the repetitive use of the tapes, so as to access through intuitive means new categories of information not available to ordinary consciousness.
All right, I'll take over now, right?
Yes.
Role of resonance. However, brain coherence through entrainment to beat frequencies introduced via stereo headphones is only part of the reason why the gateway system works. It is also designed to achieve the physical quietude characteristic of deep transcendental meditative states, which brings about a complete alteration of the fundamental resonance pattern associated with the sound frequencies produced by the human body. Yoga, Zen, or transcendental meditation, if practiced long enough, will produce a change in the sound frequency with which the human heart resonates through the entire body. According to Bentoff, this change in resonance results from elimination of what the medical profession calls the bifurcation echo, so that the sound of the heartbeat can move up and down the circulatory system in harmonious resonance approximately 7 times a second. Bentoff describes the role played by the bifurcation echo as follows. When the left ventricle of the heart ejects blood, the aorta, being elastic, balloons out just beyond the valve and causes a pressure pulse to travel down along the aorta. When the pressure pulse reaches the bifurcation in the lower abdomen, which is where the aorta forks in two to go into the legs, part of the pressure pulse rebounds and starts traveling up the aorta. If in the meantime the heart ejects more blood and a new pressure pulse is traveling down, these two pressure points will eventually collide somewhere along the aorta and produce an interference pattern. By placing the body in a sleep-like state, the gateway tapes achieve the same goal as meditation in that it places the body in such a profoundly relaxed state that the bifurcation echo slowly fades away as the heart lessens the force and frequency with which it pushes blood into the aorta. The result is a regular rhythmic sine wave pattern of sound, which echoes throughout the body and rises up into the head in sustained resonance. It's interesting. The amplitude of this sine wave pattern, when measured with a sensitive seismograph type instrument, is about 3 times the average of the sound volume produced by the heart when it is operating normally. If you want me to read the next one, or just somebody else?
No, I got it. If you want me to read it,
Yeah,
I'll do better than last time. I promise.
Or no,
No,
wait, it's Jules. It's Jules' turn.
Okay.
Is it my turn?
It's Jules.
Yeah, if we're
Where
gonna
are we?
go on.
At 9?
Brain stimulation.
Brain
number 9.
stimulation. All right. So, brain stimulation. Bentov's biomedical model shows that this resonance is of considerable importance since it is directly transmitted to and impacts upon the brain. The resulting vibration is received and transmitted into the brain itself via the fluid-filled third and left ventricles located above the brain stem. An electromagnetic pulse is then generated, which stimulates the brain to raise the amplitude and frequency of brainwave output, just as Dr. Twemlow observed in his research on the effects of the hemisync tapes. Also, the brain is contained in a tight membrane called the dura, which is in turn cushioned by a thin layer of fluid located between it and the skull. As the coherent resonance produced by the human heart in a state of profound relaxation reaches the fluid layers surrounding the brain, it sets up a rhythmic pattern. That's cool. In which the brain moves up and down approximately 0.005 to 0.010 millimeters in a continuous pattern. The self-reinforcing character of resonant behavior accounts for the body's ability to sustain this movement despite the minimal level of energy involved. In this way, the entire body, based on its own micromotion, functions as a tuned vibrational system which transfers energy in a range of between 6.8 and 7.5 hertz into the Earth's ionosphere cavity, which itself resonates at about 7 to 7.5 hertz. Of this process, Bentov states, this is occurring at a very long wavelength of about 40,000 kilometers, or just about is that kilometers? Please tell me it is.
Yeah.
Or is there another measurement for it? Okay.
km, kilometers.
Okay. All right. I didn't know if there was another. measurement.
Kilometers.
Sorry. Wanted to make sure I got everything right. Okay.
Pronounce it like a Russian.
I can't do a Russian accent. Or just about the perimeter of the planet. In other words, the signal from the movement of our bodies will travel around the world in about 1/7 of a second through the electrostatic field in which we are embedded. Such a long wavelength knows no obstacles, and its strength does not attenuate. I can't say that with Russian. Attenuate much over long distance. Okay, I can't do it anymore, guys. Naturally, it will go through just about anything. Metal, concrete, water, and the fields making up our bodies. It is the ideal medium for conveying a telepathic signal.
So we can send a signal out and they'll travel around the world in about 1/7 of a second.
That's pretty fucking cool. And we don't know stuff like this, like this isn't.
Well,
so
the resonant frequency, again, it's like billiard balls. So you're not talking about having that much amplitude.
Right.
Is right, but it's a very small amount of output. Right. Over time, that is a huge thing, especially when you're talking about cosmic radiation. So this is why I give credence.
Can you build that output?
Yes,
Okay.
Through resonant frequencies. That's what they're talking about throughout this thing. You can create these.
Go.
They also increase the decibel. Like I forget what they hook up to people, but they will actually increase your decibel output.
It's just feedback loops.
I'm going to finish this. Consequently, the gateway process is designed to rather rapidly induce a state of profound calm within the nervous system and to significantly lower blood pressure to cause the circulatory system, skeleton, and all other physical organ systems to begin vibrating coherently at approximately 7 to 7.5 cycles per second. The resulting resonance sets up a regular, repetitive sound wave which propagates in consonance with the electrostatic field of the Earth. A lot of big words for me.
All right.
I went to public schools.
I got it.
I say this all the time.
The reason why I was insisting he use a Russian accent is because of the book Psychic Discoveries Behind the Iron Curtain. So this was actually the start of the remote viewing movement, was Psychic Discoveries Behind the Iron Curtain. So the CIA read that book, which was based off of a lot of, I guess you would say secret agents that couldn't get their stuff up to the top brass. So they published a book about all of the things that Russians were doing with psychic research in English, and then that program created a psychics arms race in America to produce the remote viewers that you know of today, including Joe McGonigal. So the Russians kind of started the whole thing moving, but we kind of give credit to ourselves and our CIA, even though it was the Russians that started the psychical research that has produced all of this stuff that we're reading right now within very, very low amount of time. We got basically cut off of the psychic research in 1995. That was it. There hasn't been anything else in the psychic research space except for one thing, which is the autistic kids. It's the only scientific research that they've published about psychical research since 1995, which is strange, if you ask me.
It's really interesting. And actually, Bentov, I was going to say he was Czech, and he had a really successful business on top of his interest in consciousness. His business now is $1 billion medical industry business. And rabbit hole of his existence and life, he died in a plane crash. So, and just one of those, like,
a lot of them do, man. Yeah.
Surprise. All right, number 10, energy entrainment. as the body is turning into a coherent oscillator, vibrating in harmony with the surrounding electrostatic medium, the specific exercises included in the gateway tapes enjoy the participant to build up the energy field surrounding his body, presumably by using energy from the Earth's field, which the body is now entraining because of its ability to resonate with it. This puts the body's energy field into homogeneity with the surrounding environment and promotes movement of the seat of consciousness into the surrounding environment, partly in response to the fact that the two electromagnetic medians are now a single energy continuum. Have you guys noticed how they've got a dearth of vocabulary when it comes to the idea of these auras? They don't really have the vocabulary to talk about what they're seeing. Thus, the same process which moves the brain into focused coherence steadily higher levels of frequency and amplitude so as to entrain analogous frequencies in the universe for data collection also promotes enhancement of bodily energy levels to a point adequate to permit the subject to experience an out-of-body movement, which he is ready to do so. More will be said about this topic later. In addition, this is the big sales pitch that Monroe was making to the CIA, is that he can get people out of body and using their entire sensory frequency to start looking at stuff. Anyways, in addition, by resonating with the Earth's electromagnetic sphere, the human body creates a surprisingly powerful carrier wave to assist the mind in communication activity with other human minds similarly tuned. So, just one more point. Robert Monroe said that I can pull all of your senses out of your body into this field that has a silver cord going back to your physical body. That's his sales pitch to all of these remote viewers, is that now you can have full body sensory analysis. That did not work out every single time.
I don't want nobody touching my silver cord, dude.
Well, again, like the remote viewers would see things, but they wouldn't be out of body and thinking of themselves into a different carrier as they're seeing it, right? So when me and Nick did the whole remote viewing episode, neither one of us was thinking about projecting our spirit bodies to see something. We were just seeing it. That's a difference between what Monroe's offering and the sort of pictorial reference material that remote viewing was offering at the time, right? Which is, it's like flipping through photos. We're not talking about being outside of the body and keeping track of all of those other senses. It's just looking through photos. That's what remote viewing is versus Bob Monroe's version, which is out-of-body experiences. Still a perception issue.
It's really interesting. The remote viewing, where it comes from, I think they even still kind of debate on where it comes from, which way it works. And sometimes for some people it works different manners. They do, I've noticed a lot of times, describe it as a martial art and a physical aptitude, a physical thing.
Bingo.
And one of the things they talk about in suggestion, well, I think this works for intuition in general too. Don't use nouns, use describer words and really tensile kind of concepts, really bodily sensation ideas.
You're hitting it. Perfect.
So,
Guys,
are we? Please tell us, what were you going to say?
No, this is my exaltation to you. Why aren't you doing like Tai Chi lessons? You could do that on YouTube and just monetize your stuff. Just do it, man. We will all watch it every day. This is a daily practice that we're talking about, right?
Sure. Tai Chi is really difficult to share. You know, in this world, I think people don't want to take that responsibility.
Really?
And it's, well, I think that people, want to do it, but do they actually do it? Right. It's like working out. It's not something that anyone but like obsessive compulsive, people really take on to learn, because it can be difficult. It usually kind of turns people off because it's difficult.
I've done so many Qigong programs on YouTube.
There's so many great ones.
Sick of, because I don't know the person. I know you. I want to do your Tai Chi program. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
You really should do
well, I just made a video. It is on the Occult Research Institute, the Tai Chi article, and I have a accompanying video, and it's got 4 very simple movements or postures, and I will share more, Headless. Absolutely. I will at your request share more for sure.
That's what I'm looking for.
And yeah, it's so helpful. It's so helpful in regards to I saw this. There's this advertisement for Tai Chi workouts to become muscular. Well, you could use Tai Chi or Qigong to become muscular, but again, it's more about enhancing what you already have, enhancing your circulatory and nervous system. Opening your nervous system up makes your strength actually increased, right? You're really, mostly we're functioning like in a dream, right? Where we can't run as fast as we want to, right? Well, when your nervous system opens up, you start to really be able to function higher.
Embracing the hero.
I would be interested.
Yeah, I'll definitely I'll make more videos for you guys for sure.
Thank you, Ethan.
I would probably try
and
it.
it's
I would try it.
I'm telling you.
I was telling Teresa, I was like, I actually would check out that shit. I was like, I should ask Ethan what he would suggest.
Every day.
Yeah. So it only makes sense if you put it out. I would just use your shit.
And yeah, Headless, you're right. It is an everyday practice. Even you can begin with the most basic thing. They mentioned Zen meditation in this already, which is Tai Chi Qigong in those days anyway. You can just do the universal pillar, which is just a standing posture, and you create a vessel thereby to hold Qi more efficiently. So stillness is Zen meditation. It's the original Zazen that transformed into the Buddhist meditation that we know so well. So it can be really simple, but it's a daily practice, and it's very much like adding a telephone book paper every day, and eventually you have the resilience of a telephone book. That's how they kind of describe the quality of Qi building and so on. Appreciate
Nick got to get with you, because I think between the 3 of us, we could probably come up with a really badass magical Qi program. I think that would be amazing.
I think Eros wanted to say something. Oh, sorry, Ethan. Go ahead.
No.
I was going to say something.
We all were going to say something.
All right. So, where were you?
Okay, so should I continue reading? Eros,
continue. I don't know if Eros wanted to say what she wanted to say, but I guess.
No, I didn't have anything to say. Sorry.
Oh, I thought.
I'm just fidgety. I'm a fidgety person.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I'm now inspired by your inspiration to learn Tai Chi. I always feed off of that inspiration, and to that, I was thinking. People think meditation takes time, learning takes time, Tai Chi takes time. Meditation makes time. You are more efficient throughout the day and get things done in a higher efficient manner when you meditate, right? So you actually make time when you meditate. Just to give people some inspiration that I'm feeling now. Okay, so consciousness and energy. I'll try not to stumble as much.
I wanted to say something real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Jules,
too.
He likes my shirt, not your shirt.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, slam dunk.
Yo, you know what I wanted to ask you, Ethan? Because I think you mentioned some kind of like pillar meditation. Did you ever hear of Israel Regardie's middle pillar? Have you ever tried that meditation?
Wait, say that again. You broke up on my end.
I think it's Israel Regardie who came up with it.
No,
middle
I'm
pillar.
not familiar.
Yeah, you should check that out. It's a meditation. It's pretty.
That's what I was saying.
I loved it.
It's
Yeah,
a middle pillar meditation, he calls it?
Yeah, it's called the middle pillar. Yeah.
Cool.
And it uses like 5 out of the 7 chakras too as you go down.
What are you guys doing
these
tomorrow?
meditations and everything.
Because I think between the three of us, we can come up with something really cool when it comes to like body formations and qigong and tai chi energy. I just think it would be it's necessary. We all think about that. We're lacking a body consciousness. Like, it's kind of embarrassing to say, but we don't have body consciousness. We're all up in our heads,
You're right. Yeah.
I've even wondered if that's even part of like doing rituals, is just the whole movement, body and stuff too as well.
It is. It's
you start doing all these poses and shit, and it's like, there's got to be multiple reasons you're doing it.
And actually, there was a whole series of experiments that the U.S. government did, and probably the Soviets too, in regards to the physicality of remote viewing. And they were trying to figure out where it came from, and they went about bringing people into mines, into caves, into what are those rooms where no electromagnetic frequency can get in, skiffs, all these different places that blocked off all these different energies. The last one that they were trying to figure out was ELF, which was a real big concept during this time period too. Ultra low frequency, is it something low frequency? And they had to go in a submarine to cancel out the ELF. And so they actually, I think it was left undetermined through all these tests on the physicality of the vibration. They still couldn't track it.
Sounds like they're describing a magical ritual.
Well, yeah, and they were there. It was intertwined, right? I mean, all of this stuff is intertwined, and there's that missing page of this series that came out many years later that kind of weaves it all together. I find later.
Nice.
Okay, so I'm babbling.
You're the magician, number 11.
So consciousness and energy. Before our explanation can proceed any further, it is essential to define the mechanism by which the human mind exercises the function known as consciousness, and to describe the way in which that consciousness operates to deduce meaning from the stimuli which it receives. To do this, we will first consider the fundamental character of the material world in which we have our physical existence in order to accurately perceive the raw stuff with which our consciousness must work. The first point which needs to be made is that the two terms, matter and energy, tend to be misleading if taken to indicate two distinctly different states of existence in the physical world that we know it. Indeed, if the term matter is taken to mean solid substance as opposed to energy, which is understood to mean a force of some sort, then the use of the former is entirely misleading. Science now knows that both the electrons which spin in the energy field located around the nucleus of the atom and the nucleus itself are made up of nothing more than oscillating energy grids. Solid matter, in the strict construction of the term, simply does not exist. Rather, atomic structure is composed of oscillating energy grids, that is a wild concept, excuse my interjection, surrounded by other oscillating energy grids, which orbit at extraordinarily high speeds. In his book, Stalking the Wild Pendulum, Itzhak Bentov gives the following figures. The energy grid, which composes the nucleus of the atom, vibrates at approximately 10, what would that number be? 22 squared hertz? How would you say that? 1022 squared?
10 to the 22nd.
Oh, thank you. 10 to the 22nd power hertz, which means 10 followed by 22 zeros. At 70 degrees Fahrenheit, an atom oscillates at the rate of 10 to the 15th hertz. An entire molecule composed of a number of atoms bound together in a single energy field vibrates in a range of 10 to the 9th hertz. A live human cell vibrates at approximately 10 to the 3rd hertz. The point to be made is that the entire human being, brain, consciousness, and all, is like the universe which surrounds him, nothing more or less than an extraordinarily complex system of energy fields. The so-called states of matter are actually variances in the state of energy, and human consciousness is a function of the interaction of energy in two opposite states, motion versus rest, or we could say the two pillars, if you get esoteric, in a manner described in the following paragraph. I mean, that brings together so many esoteric ideas.
Did he just say that the two fundamental primary polarities are tension and release? Because I say that all the time.
Yeah, you have.
And that's a very Tai Chi idea too. The yin and yang represents that. The four humors almost have that too, right?
Right.
And I would say that relaxation and tension, or as you put it, release and what?
Tension and release. So it's potential and kinetic energy.
Yeah. You can. That's actually a Tai Chi exercise. Is just stimulating tension and relaxation, going from these extremes, not
how much force am I placing against my finger? Do you know how much focus and force I'm actually placing against my finger? Can anybody actually measure the conscious energy that is placed in one single centimeter? This is the fundamental issue when it comes to meditation, is what are thoughts made of? Can you concentrate thoughts?
Yeah,
it makes me think of that X post that I put out recently, that like consciousness is alive and it animates itself and it brings itself into form. But yeah, I mean, thought on its own without a brain, I don't know. Seems like you need a brain.
What are spirits?
Well, we do need a brain, and we also at the same time require it. We need to shed a lot of its compound interest, right? Like generally, we're kind of wired to think about really survival-based negative stuff, even, right? So just rewiring things to think about, higher ideas, which. It's just crazy to read the military writing in with all this esoteric stuff.
Right.
Get used
military
to it, man.
Concepts.
Oh, sorry, Headless.
I was going to say military concepts on states of consciousness is a really interesting concept, especially for me, who has been through basic training. So I understand how the military thinks about the recruits, right? They think of you in a certain way. They don't necessarily know what you're thinking back at them. What this is, it seems like they're looking at ways of trying to figure that out because they really don't understand what you're thinking back at them. And so they're trying to get in touch with that. And they really don't have the vocabulary to express it because they've kind of been shutting it down all these years. You're not allowed to say these things.
Well, they
So
also, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, they're also building up to this part in the document where they talk about how when you leave the body, you're just like an intelligence. And so you don't have a brain, so you can't really store the things that like you learn out there, but you kind of exist as the intelligence that you have before you leave the body, but you can't like really learn as just an intelligence, but you can still like communicate with like these other beings and stuff like that. Basically, it's a lot like kind of Neoplatonic ideas of like these higher beings that they don't have bodies, and so they don't have like they're more mechanical. They don't have
Do you know about the Kapaletha?
no.
So Hygeia is supposed to offer the cup of Letha to the souls reincarnating from the underworld, from Hades' realm. And so this cup of Letha is from the river in one of the underworld, rivers, and it makes you forget. So Letha means that you forget. Aletheia means that you remember beyond one life to the next. Aletheia was coined by a guy named Parmenides in his poem on nature. And what Parmenides was trying to enunciate by saying aletheia is that memory persists beyond materiality. It persists beyond one life to the next. There's an informational field. Something exists that can transfer our souls into the future. We're not just separated between death and reality. There's something else that draws us back. And in that case, I think aletheia is a perfect idea of remembering the soul that is coming back into creation. What they're trying to describe now with all of this stuff is a reconnection of the harmony with that original vibration. I think it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's certainly interesting. And yeah, I like how much it aligns with like metaphysics.
Absolutely. Ethan, were you done reading?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. I want to wrap it up now. I was thinking maybe I don't know if we go another row of people. That could be like.
I was gonna say I didn't know this, that the document was this long. It's pretty long.
It keeps going.
No, I said I did not think we'd get through all of it. Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, we could always come back in a few weeks and go more.
Absolutely. Yeah. No. There's.
I'd like to continue it actually.
There's a lot packed. Yeah. I may read this over the weekend because there's a lot packed into this.
No, there's a lot of. I mean, Eros could probably even tell you there's a lot more stuff in here still.
Well, yeah, I've just been reading and just kind of been thinking. There's a lot having to do with thought forms in here. I'm real big on thought forms and egregores. Everybody knows that, and creating them and
what about zeitgeist?
Occult science behind it. What's up? Oh, yeah, Headless came on talking about the zeitgeist. We got to get into that too, and the genius loci. We always love talking about that on my show. But so yeah, I have to dive into this a little further. Talk about the zeitgeist, Headless, before we get out of here, if you'd like.
Well, zeitgeist is like the spirit of the age. You could even assert that the Pisces, living in the age of Pisces, is sort of coming to an end. We're coming to a different phase of reality, which would be a different vibration of thinking. And in a lot of ways, what they were talking about, the age of Aquarius, has already been fulfilled, and we're not even catching up to that reality yet. Right now, we're looking at each other through a screen that is being broadcast over waves through air, like a watery air sign. And we're in the age of Aquarius, and we're talking over a watery air sign about spiritual topics. It kind of seems like we're in the age of Aquarius, guys. Are you following me? I mean, like, here's the new world religion. That's what happens every time you change one of these signs, right? We're in a new world religion, and we barely even register it yet. It's strange how that happens. Yeah. So all I'm saying is that there are new ways of seeing the world. We've sort of transitioned, and nobody really noticed. Everybody was looking for a cataclysm, but what if it was just a different way of seeing things?
Oh yeah, I think that's really a big point. To tell you the truth of this, I totally agree on that.
An awakening of some sort, right?
No, I mean there is parts in it. I mean, I don't want to start sounding like pro like Thelemic in certain things, but when you even look at the story of Horus, about the way they look at him as being the rebellious child, I see that with my generation, kind of. Where we aren't buying the bullshit, and we also don't really kind of like the way our parents fucking dealt with us either. We don't agree with that either.
Right.
So we're kind of rebelling against the whole system. There's a lot of people I know that are actually actively like changing their lives, and we're all around the same age. And we're realizing a lot of it was due to what we were bred to believe. We actually don't agree with it anymore. It's a fucked up way to live. I want my decision. It's my life. And I think seeing that just in multiple ways. It doesn't even have to be in the conspiracy community, just people in general. And I think that has to change the way society is going to move going forward as well.
I'm excited about it. I'm excited for the age of Aquarius.
Oh, what a time to be alive,
Bring down that Piscean power.
You would, Eris. You
go,
fucking would.
You're gonna bring it down all by herself.
Well, I mean, look, there's so much self-contradictory stuff that we can already see that is embodied with the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius is the self-contradictory sign. It's crazy how weird Aquarius is. Like, if you look at the different symbolism associated with it, it really
especially with water in general,
Yes. I mean, water is a gas and a liquid, right? There's all these strange attributes to water and liquids in general, but now you're talking about like it's the watery air.
The aether. To me, yeah,
right. It's the water bearer.
Radio waves are the watery air. Those are the waves through the air themselves, right? Mm-hmm. We're living on our cell phones, and all we see is what comes to us through these different layers of watery air. I mean, that's a new world religion, right? I mean, that's what people used to connect over. Everything was about the community, and they got together over their religion all throughout these different eons, and now we're looking at a new eon that's based off of a similar concept.
And Uranus and lightning bolts, which is very, watery sky. But it's good because Aquarius doesn't like consolidated power, and it is very pro community and individualism. So it's like both of the best worlds, right? Because you get to be individuals and have community. And it is these utopian ideals. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But I think we still have, technically, I don't think that it starts until, like, the actual Earth's tilt isn't fully in Aquarius until, like, 2150. But we are kind of like where those two constellations are like overlapping a little bit, and so it's kind of like
Eros, you got to look at this historically. This would be the arms race. 2150 would be the date that the dominance begins, and then the decline after that would follow. So there are different phases to these different eons that we can see happening with the age of Pisces, the rise of Christ, and before that, the age of the Ram. All of these different things have the same kind of signatures.
Literally,
very important. Yes.
The age of Pisces began at 1 CE.
Bingo.
Jesus' birth. So this has been that age, and you can. We have a very Semitic powers.
Have you ever heard of the date of Jesus them saying like maybe it's 4? He was not exactly the first year, but the 4th year. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Yeah, well, it's kind of. I mean, I do think it's actually like accepted as like possibly or true actually. And the weird thing is, I don't know if most people know that. If you happen to believe in that, that actually came from Johannes Kepler.
Oh my God, I get it. Sorry, I just had a revelation in my mind.
I just find that interesting. Like I was an occultist, whatever. I mean, there's so much of what we believe is outside our windows came from him. And if you see what he was into and what his family was into, he had to go to court and defend for his mother, and she wasn't a witch. These are the people that are determining what the fuck we look at. Yo, that motherfucker stole Tycho Brahe's work, basically.
Yes.
Dude, as soon as he died, the motherfucker tried to swipe up his shit, and the family even tried to take it back from him. So,
dude, you have to listen to his rendition of Tycho Brahe. Tycho is determining how people see the universe around them, and he's fighting against not only the Catholic Church but also the crown. And after he dies, they end up bulldozing his shit, and there's not really a reason why they would do that. Like, he's just looking up at the sky. It doesn't make any sense why they would make a castle, just destroy a castle for no reason, but that's what he's doing. He's just looking up at the sky. So maybe there's something to this shit,
Like, I didn't even have a telescope, He did all that shit by eye and like wooden things that he made. Took shit into the ground so he moved wind. His fucking guy was nuts. Yeah, just a very interesting story if you kind of look at the whole Tycho Brahe Kepler connection. And like the impact he's even had on religious stuff.
You did episodes on that, didn't you?
I'm working on him now. I'm actually editing the episode, so hopefully I'll have it done in a few days.
So with the beginning of a new age comes the end of an old power. We need to destroy that old egregore, guys.
Yes. Very fascist egregore.
Oh yeah, very.
It's like, even for me, it's like, like what I was talking about before, like just keeping it real. Like I grew up in an Italian family. I mean, come on, there's gonna be fascism in there somewhere.
Right.
When the Italian, I'll just keep it real. Like at some point, my family, before they moved over here, accepted some of Italy's fascism before it came too much. And then you left. And you brought over the accepted part, which is very verbally mind-fucking people to do whatever you want. The Italians are great at that. And that's, that was part of something that I realized that didn't work with me anymore. And I'm not being manipulated because I was told, because I said so. That's not a fucking answer. There's no depth to that fucking answer. I want to know why. Because you said so, fuck you.
Well, in some ways, I see a lot of what Il Duce was doing was he was actually trying to ask, why should we have to accept everything the rest of Europe wants to put on us? He was the home of everything, right? I mean, the Roman Catholic Church was the center of everything for a long time until, people like, the fascist dictators are like, what the fuck happened? We don't have any power anymore. Right? They were asking the question. That's what Mussolini was doing. He was asking the question, what was all of this for? What are we doing here? And he really didn't find any answers. Right. Nobody knew what was the European project all about. And, for instance, Mussolini, he wasn't necessarily a hardcore Christian. He was just thinking about his own people. And he was like, what did the Italian people gain from all of this conquistadors and all the rest of this European expansionism? What did they get? And he didn't have any answers. I mean, Hitler didn't have any answers either. Nobody's really got any. Did they really get control? Who's got control at this point? Who's calling the shots?
So many different groups.
I mean, wouldn't you say like
Or maybe it's all one. They all, I don't know.
Largely
Who has
like
all the
these
focus? Everybody is focused on one certain group all the time. And if we focused on ourselves, we wouldn't have to face all of this geopolitical turmoil. Just focus on yourselves, people. You don't.
That's why they push it on us.
About anybody else.
Yeah.
We don't have to do that.
But that's why it's pushed on us.
Gandhi said it so well. If you wanna change the world, change yourself. I think something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, guys,
I said that once and I was told I had white privilege.
Never mind.
Exactly.
You do, Nick. You have too much white privilege. You need to
Italian privilege.
give some of it to me, dude.
Makes no sense.
It's that same question every time.
It is definitely Abrahamic religions that are like most in power and most popular.
Well, yeah, they use it,
empathy.
especially. Yeah, they use people's faith against them, the mass population, right? And
empathy is a
you see what
weapon.
that's done to people.
Right. It's empathy is a weapon all the time. Whether you're trying to save somebody else or save yourselves, when you use empathy as a weapon, everything crumbles. It's like the snake eating its own tail.
Right.
It's not just
convincing
empathy.
people sympathy over empathy. That's the whole fucking problem. I was even saying along that lines when I had that whole thing spewed at me, that whole white privilege shit. I was getting into the whole thing. And even Crowley said something like that. And I was saying that's what I thought was a problem with the OTO. Is that Crowley even said one of the problems with humanity is that they're going to start mistaking sympathy for empathy.
Right.
And that's exactly what I thought happened with them within that order.
What about Jupiter? I have to keep going back to Jupiter because Jupiter is like, I will give despite your complaints. Right? That's what patriarchy is. I will give despite your complaints. And that's what we keep finding ourselves in this position is because we don't actually say, stop complaining. We're trying to give, I mean, we've been doing that for so long, just trying to give and then not getting anything back for it as men and as a people. It's like, we can't say, stop it. We have no more empathy left. How do you do that without some form of violence? I don't understand how we can get to the place where we can say, stop, leave us alone. I mean, that's kind of what our entire political struggle has been, is how do you say enough is enough?
Yeah.
Well, I would
That's
say
where we find ourselves, right?
Yeah.
it's not just empathy though, and I don't think Jupiter is an empathetic sign. It's a diplomatic sign. It's a higher learning sign, an explorative sign. But would you really say Uranus, Saturn, or Zeus, like all kind of associated with that archetype, are overly empathetic? I would say that's Piscean. I would say that's the Christos archetype, and I would also say that's part of this age of age of Pisces. And that it's not just empathy, it's also like blurriness, cloudiness, like this confusion that they're stoking, and this like cloudiness, and even like this idealizing people in power and stuff like that as like saviors and stuff like that. That's all Piscean. I would not blame Zeus for any of this.
No, I get you. No, the Piscean aspect is being tied together by the tail. So it's like we're tied together by the stories we tell each other. right? That's how we're all sort of brought together. Is there's a story that brings everybody together, and then we're all sort of swimming in the same direction, and we kind of like each other, but we're still fighting against each other. I mean, look throughout
They're
all of
making us fight though, because they're trying
Yeah.
to prevent
Right.
the age of Aquarius. They don't want us to come together because that's
bingo.
Oh, it's the end
This is
time,
the hope.
right?
It's
It's
the
the
hope.
end times. That's what
The
that's
golden
the whole
age
push.
versus the Kali Yuga, golden age Kali Yuga. That's the main idea behind all of this stuff. You know, I mean, golden age is real easy to understand. I just hand that to you, and it's already a story in itself. Kali Yuga, that's already a story. It sounds terrible, right? These are the things that we're up against. Is the sounding of these things versus how do we have the discernment to actually pick the right thing?
Mm-hmm. Most
Oh, so-
people don't.
One thing that did the there is just something I just wanted to check just to make sure. But I did look, and it's it is normally kind of estimated between 4 and 6 AD was Jesus' birthday, and that is because it kept.
Yeah, I was gonna say somebody right. Jesus' birthday. So it's September 11th, 3 BC. Okay, that's an interesting
September
theory.
11th.
Well,
Yes,
then
sir.
there's the April 1st theory, because of April Fool's Day. Then just there's a few theories out there that I've heard about.
Oh, it's a tough call.
Yeah,
But it's
well,
right
I mean,
there.
I think the September 11th, that time of year comes from certain references to the shepherds being amongst the flock and how the seasonal kind of thing would flow like that. I believe something like that.
all right. Well, guys, y'all want to go ahead? We're at 2 hours.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is amazing.
So,
this is a
that
great
was awesome.
conversation. I love
Hell
it.
yeah, that was fucking fun. Thank you, Iris.
Always,
idea.
always
Oh,
epic.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm glad
Thanks,
that you
Eric.
guys wanted to do this.
Oh hell yeah,
Signs and symbols are our shit, dude. We love that.
yeah. Occult and
Give us a
science.
way to
come
express
together, that's what I'm all
ourselves.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, guys,
we'll start with you. Why don't you plug your stuff?
Yeah. Please follow me on YouTube at Arrows Up. I have some presentations that I've done on the occult rejects there, but I also have some studies on the Enneads and a video on Neptune and Saturn conjunct in Pisces and Aries. Interesting stuff. And then follow me on Twitter at Arrows to Ethos.
Don't you also provide like some sort of services as well?
I was gonna start doing astrology readings, but nobody wanted them, so I was like, okay.
I'll just leave it up. People got to find out somehow, right?
Yeah. Well,
I
yeah.
noticed it. That's why I brought it up. I don't know if you took it down. Sorry.
I mean, yeah, transits. So we're synastry. I really love synastry readings. So like if you're in a relationship or something and you guys are having like problems, you would be surprised at how accurate synastry is. Anyways.
Okay. Thank you. I'll plug the show again. The Occult Rejects on BitChute, Rumble, YouTube, and all major podcasts. Tomorrow, just to reiterate, we are getting on, and these guys are actually like really big names in the Golden Dawn and the Ike Bakers. Those are pretty well known in the masonry circuit. But we got Ike Baker and Jamie Paul Lamb coming on tomorrow again. That's actually like people may not realize because there's this was a kind of a conspiracy / occult. But in the occult community, those are actually two fucking big names to have on at the same time. So it should really be impressive. And they are both friends with each other. They're really cool with each other. So that was another reason why I wanted to get them on. So like they're even excited to go on the show together to hang out. So keep a check out. Check it out tomorrow. It's definitely be fun.
Nick,
Yeah.
if anybody's watching 777, they need to tune in because these guys are experts in that shit.
Definitely.
So it's going to be all related to that stuff. We've already covered it so many times. You're going to hear it there firsthand, you know?
Yeah, if you've been listening, you've heard us mention the actual gematria thing, Ike Baker. I mean, the guy calls himself Ike Baker. So, I mean, obviously he's into that shit. So, yeah, definitely check it out. These guys, they are not dumb. They are very, very intelligent people, and they're well respected in the community. So, I suggest to highly check out the show tomorrow if you can make it. And I think that's at 3:30. He was available at 3 o'clock after, and so I figured to keep it 33 for Ike. I asked him, would you want to do 3:30? So that's when we got. All right. So yeah, check that out, and I'll shut up. And Jules, please go ahead and let everybody know.
Guys, you can find me on X at Graypill Pod, Instagram Graypill _ podcast, YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, Apple Podcast, patreon.com/Graypill Podcast. Best way to support the show. What do I got? Tomorrow morning, Esoteric Book Review, Gods of the Morning Wood. We're doing Occult, Unseen Forces, and I think it's a Dweller on the Threshold chapter. And then Occult Anatomy of Man, like part 6 of that we've done. And that we could do 6 pages, or we could do like 6 sentences. It could take us 2 hours, an hour and a half, whatever. That's tomorrow. And then 9 o'clock a.m. And then Sunday, 7 p.m. Central, I'm having Toad on. Tower Gang Toad's coming to hang out. So y'all come and kick it. It's going to be a good time. Hang out with my boy, talk some conspiracies. And yeah, Austin Picard next week. I should know the date, but I don't. So I'll let y'all know later this weekend. But this was a great show. Thank you, Eros, for bringing this up. And yeah, I plan on reading this outside of here. So yeah, anyway. Ethan.
Yeah, and you got to check out the 25th page that they omitted that's now available too. Don't forget. That all brings it together. But honored to talk with you guys, Nick, Eros, everybody. Thank you for putting this together. And I'm easy to find online, and I'll be making more Tai Chi videos with your inspiration now. And actually, I'm reminded one of the books I wrote is a free ebook right now. If anyone does ebooks, the Tai Chi Pill, and it's I think it has some quality information to it. So, and I'm easy to find on social media if I'm repeating myself. So again, appreciate you guys.
And y'all go check out the Rustic Gods episode from last night that me and Headless did on Haloa and Demeter. But yeah, we did it mainly on Haloa, the Greek midwinter festival. But there was a tangent in there. There's like a 20-25 minute tangent on Set and Yahweh that goes it goes pretty hard. So y'all go check that episode. And Donkey Heads. But also, I did an episode yesterday, did a New Year's episode for anyone who hadn't seen it. I give a bunch of shout outs to all of my people, my audience, and people that I do shows with, my friends, my only friends. And yeah, it was a good show. We read a Steiner lecture on the Drots, or the Druids. But yeah.
Yahweh and penis cakes.
Yeah, penis cakes too. Yeah, Eris is right about that. Yeah, we talked about the fertility parties that they would have, and it's all in good fun. And I talked about how it's now like, degenerate to do that because they'll do it for like a fucking kids party or something. You know what I mean? Or have some drag queen there to hand them out, or like, they always gotta fuck it up somehow.
It's the whiplash effect. It's the whiplash. We got to get away from the whiplash effect and start to be more interior as opposed to putting everything on Instagram or what have you. It's just have fun. Don't put it on the internet. And then remember who your people are. Those are 3 easy rules, right?
Also, well,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. I just, it's like used to,
Right.
you can have a penis cake at some, at an adult party, and it was all in good fun, is a good laugh. But now,
Right.
they take it a
That's what
little
makes it
more
right.
extreme, and maybe there's something in the penis cake, or they're like an actual penis, or, I don't know. Somebody pops out the cake.
I was good. Yeah.
Awesome.
No one clip that. Heather, plug your stuff.
All right. So you can find me on Monday nights. Sunday mornings, 10:30 CST with Ethan Indigo and Ricardo. We talking the trialogues. And then Mondays, we got the Alchemy Mondays. Hopefully we got tubing. Who knows? Tuesdays, we've got 777 with Nick. And then Wednesdays, I am sleeping. And then Thursdays, we're doing the Headless's Magical Mailbag. Fridays, whatever the hell this is. And yeah, I'll see you again on Saturday.
I bet you
Probably
Wednesday you'll see him with Georgina Rose, though. I bet you'll show up Wednesday for that.
yeah. You know me. I'll be there.
I will
All
too.
right.
Yo, real quick,
Absolutely.
I do want to say real quick before we wrap it up for the people listening too. That Wednesday, we also got we have Georgina Rose coming on at 6:00. Then also
Or Dad, darling, right?
yeah, Dot Darling,
Yeah.
or Georgina Rose, whatever, however people know who she know her. Big in the Thelema community. She's got a few books out. And then at 9:00, we also got I wanted to get this guy on at a time that Jules could come on. We got Frida RC covering Enochian magic. So that should be really interesting. And he's also from the Golden Dawn as well. So I really look forward to him coming on. I think he's also friends with Ike Baker. That's how I think I might have came across him. So very interesting guy. I hit it off with him, talking to him in chat, and he wanted to get him on the show. So two real, actually pretty impressive people in the occult community coming on next Wednesday. So keep an eye out for both those shows. Thank you very much.
All right. And if we don't see y'all have a great weekend, everybody. Later.